that a protein shake, or is that just... Oh, you got a Russian?
I do. Fucking chicken tikka! Human. Oh, man. And I made it with Crystal Skull vodka. You know who makes that, right? Or who started that company?
Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Vodka? Yeah, isn't he kind of a...
Vodka.
Isn't he kind of a crazy person now?
I would argue he's always been kind of a crazy person, but it has been affirmed now.
Mr. Dan Aykroyd himself.
That's right. One of the OG Ghostbusters.
OG, triple OG, Mr. Stance.
Triple G, OG. You son of a bitch. Newton's in the basement!
I get knocked out.
So stay tuned. So MJ.
Hey, Kate.
A bunch of retards.
All right, good show, folks.
They got Billy!
Like an intro for the next.
Jarhead basement in 3, 2, 1, action.
Speaking of Ghostbusters, did you watch the new Afterlife?
I did. Recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good talk.
That's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
See you next time.
Yep. Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Well, should we talk about it?
Yeah, we can probably talk a little bit about it.
Oh, let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hoot. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife, you've been living under a rock. The newest deal in the Ghostbuster universe that basically eliminates the 2016
It rightfully
Ramen one.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
That movie needed to be shot.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Not only did I watch it once, I watched it multiple times, the 2016. I wanted to like it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, because
everybody in that cast, individually, very funny women. And Chris Evans.
and a couple of them together are very funny. Like, you had Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig in Bridesmaids, which was the same director, wasn't it?
It was. And Kate McKinnon, I think, is arguably one of the funniest women in history.
And I think she's one of the funniest gals recently that's been on Saturday Night Live.
Agreed.
But when you just hit say action and let your actors basically improv entire scenes, I think it just kind of just goes off the rails. So.
Yes, I don't disagree with you. And I feel like they tried to make it, and this is subject for a later video, but I feel like they definitely tried to make it more woke than it needed to be.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I don't think any of the comedy really hit for me. Comedy. Like the original Ghostbusters, right? And we're not like sitting here saying just because women are involved that we don't like it. That's not what we're saying, because that was the big thing. I wanted to like it.
Yeah, I wanted to like it. Yeah. I will say the one redeeming thing is that it showed everybody how funny Chris Hemsworth could be, because he was fucking hilarious in it, which I did not expect.
He has his moments on.
Yeah, but this was before Ragnarok, right? Like,
was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it showcased that side, and then I think that's what woke Marvel up and said, "Hey, he's funny. We need to lean into that."
Yeah, but everything else, I think, like the and we're not gonna run off on this tangent, because if you search anybody that's got any type of review channel anywhere, you're gonna find something where people are shitting on the Ghostbusters 2016. So we're not gonna go off on that tangent, but I'll say one thing is that the original was like somewhat satire with a lot of sarcasm. I mean, all three of these guys. For one, the original was written by Harold Ramis
Well, yeah, Harold Ramis
and
and
Dan
and
Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis, he started off Small Potatoes with Lampoons,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and
Well, I think they met at Second City, right? Like him and Bill Murray, they met at Second City, and then transitioned. Murray went on to SNL from there. But
like the comedy was so much more like subtle, and it wasn't just like, hey, we're trying to be funny. It was just, I don't know, it was like,
I wholeheartedly agree that
yeah,
the things that were funny in the original Ghostbusters weren't the planned jokes, right? Like at the end when they're covered in marshmallow and Ray's like gets out and he's like, dripping like, haha, okay, I get it. But my favorite jokes in the scene were the when he's like, hey, stop. And they're in that library, he's like, everybody shh. You smell that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, or
well, the little quick things, like, when they first in that elevator, he goes, suppose this is a bad time to say we haven't properly tested this equipment before doing a field test. And then they fire him up, and then they just both kind of, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, just kind of slowly move over to the side of the elevator. Like, just little shit like that,
yeah. Or, the cockroach line where he's like, yeah, we're exterminators. And he's like, huh? He's like, big cockroaches.
Or just even like little ones, like, come on, Ray. He's like, everybody's got 4 mortgages these days. I mean, just like...
Or when he does the keys on the piano, he's like, they hate that.
Because I mean, Bill Murray's character he's basically like some kind of schmuck con artist,
Right? Yeah. No, and it was
Harold,
that quick wit that really made that movie what it is.
Because was that the first one where they got locked up, right?
Yeah, they're in jail.
Was it?
They
Was
get
it
locked up
is that
again.
the one where they have the blueprints?
That's the first one.
And all the prison people are sent around, and Bill Murray's like, everybody got that? Everybody got that?
That is the first one.
Like, everybody's like eavesdropping, like looking. Bill Murray's like, he's like,
they get locked up after Peck turns off the reactor. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
You're right, sir. He is a pencil dick.
No, it's true. This man does have a small dick.
You can't do that. You can't say that.
Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
It's anarchy. And like the 16 one didn't hit, like it was all like improv, like say the most dumbest shit you can in like a series of events, and then like sometimes where they're like, because like comedy's all about like timing, and we're not sitting here trying to say that we're comedic geniuses. We're not. We just talk.
We're just fucking idiots.
We're just fucking idiots. But like when you have a joke, just let it rest.
Yeah, sometimes it needs to breathe.
Where they would just keep saying stuff till you were like, okay, now you had a good premise there, now it's not funny anymore. You're just talking, and then
they beat the dead horse.
Yeah, just stop talking and let the first part breathe. I mean,
yeah. Like I said, I wanted to like it. I truly did. Ghostbusters is one of those franchises that, somebody like me, I was born in '82. That was my childhood, man. Like those two films.
Yeah, but we're also the demographic where people are like, you toxic fanboys need to just shut up and let progress do its thing. It's like, well, apparently progress is doing good enough on its own, and these get woke, go broke things are just tanking.
Yeah. I wasn't one of those people that was upset that it was women. I could have cared less. Like I said before, all of those women are funny. I was looking forward to what they were going to do, but they just took a turn with the entirety of the film that didn't need to take place.
Yeah, and also at the same time, it's like this was something that didn't even need to exist in the first place.
What's that? The 16?
Yeah, no one was asking for a reboot, whatever you want to call it, of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I guess while they original cast, some of them did make an appearance, right? They had the bust of Ramus. They had her uncle was the
Bill
limo
Murray
owner.
was in it as a skeptic, and Ernie
Right.
Hudson was like a
He was the uncle that owned the hearse that they ended up in.
yeah.
But they didn't acknowledge the legacy that they were inheriting either,
Yeah.
which bothered me.
The storyline is obviously spoilers from here on out, if we happen to mention them, for Ghostbusters Afterlife. But yeah, basically the whole storyline is tied to the first, because the main character, the girl, is the granddaughter of Egon.
Right, McKenna Grace.
So the movie starts out with, you find out later, is Egon on this farm fighting against some unknown thing, and then poof, he's gone. And like, I mean, besides going through all the like plot synopsis and everything like that, the first 2/3 of the movie I really enjoyed. It was, even though, you know, you can say like the original Ghostbusters was a comedy, when they did something different here, and I wasn't, I liked it. It had a kind of a somber tone.
It did, but I think it needed it, right, to acknowledge the fact that Egon's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They did a good job there, but it wasn't without that same quick wit humor. Like they brought in arguably one of the best to do it with Paul Rudd.
Right.
Look, most of the kids that go here, they're not very bright. Hey, Colin. I can kind of do whatever I want.
Score.
Right? Dream job.
Now the one thing I did struggle with was a 13-year-old. Isn't that how old she's supposed to be? 13 or 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Being able to out-science the science teacher completely.
You know, there's a highly entertaining movie about a killer dog happening right over there.
Is this a seismic map?
Yes. How did you know that?
Because it's a map of seismic activity.
Right.
You're a seismologist?
Well, and was he a science teacher? He was there, and he was volunteering.
He was the summer school teacher.
Yeah.
And he was
actually like a
seismologist.
seismologist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But the fact that she was able to walk in and completely understand everything, and I get they were trying to say like she received the recessive genius gene from Uncle Egon, or, you know, Granddaddy Egon.
pros and cons to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought poking all the little nostalgic things kind of didn't really do it for me.
So
little. I just want to call them gold dice now all the time, because
Yeah.
with the Solo movie,
yeah,
like little things like the Crunch Bar in his deal. Like I just like why'd you have that in there?
well, I mean, that's a deep cut, right? Like you really had to
Yeah,
know.
you really had to be paying attention to the original Ghostbusters to even know.
You earned it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a throwaway thing that probably Bill Murray and Ramus did ad-libbed, you know.
Oh, I agree.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know, Hunter, don't quote me on that. But I mean, so, but I'm saying, like, the concept of
The addition of those little golden dice or golden nuggets that you want to call them,
yeah,
I don't feel like they detracted from the movie. They were there. They were the, you know, the sprinkles on top, I guess, for me. 'Cause
right.
if you took all of that out, all the little nuggets, the Crunch Bar, her wearing the glasses at the end, like it doesn't change the pace or the storyline of the movie, right? They're in there.
Her wearing the glasses at the end.
When she puts his glasses, maybe not in the end, at the middle, where she finds his glasses and puts them on like over hers to show, oh, I'm just like him.
Oh, I guess that part must have just blew right over me.
Okay, fair enough. But
Didn't she wear glasses the whole movie?
she did, but her glasses and
tried-
his were, yeah, she
Oh,
put
the
his
same
on.
prescription type of thing.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And there was lots of little Easter eggs, but I don't feel like the Easter eggs detracted from what the story was trying to do either. They were just there for the people that wanted them or were looking for them, right?
Right.
like the Crunch Bar. The guys that have watched that movie as much as you and I immediately like, I know what that's from.
Yeah,
Like,
and I remembered it, but at the same time, I was like,
what's the significance there?
did I remember it?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it's like I said, it's a throwaway scene. Like when if you were watching Ghostbusters for the first time and that scene came up, that was not a scene
Oh, agreed.
that would stick in your head for 20 something, 30 something years.
Right.
You know?
But like, okay, so when they first entered the house and the book stacks, right? You immediately were like, oh shit, from the library.
Yeah, so like those things, yeah, I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Fair. The mold, mildew, and spores when she goes down in his man cave. And that's the callback. I collect mold, mildew, and spores.
But like the actual like storyline thing, like I actually I liked.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't feel like those Easter eggs detracted from that.
Yeah.
The plot points were there. Like, the
But there's
pacing
still
was there.
there's still also some big holes. But I don't know
It was not a perfect movie.
the one thing and the only reason I thought about it is when they got down, when they rode these kids, most unsupervised kids ever, decided that it's smart to take this rickety old elevator down to this mine shaft. And there, which I'm going to bring up this again later too, but there's this big statue of Zool.
Right.
Or not Zool.
That's Zool.
Is Zool?
Yeah.
And then there's these 4 proton packs shooting this deal down. That's what the earthquakes are caused from.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm like, there was a part of my brain that snapped back to this conversation that is an exposition dump, but between the girl when she's in jail and Ray Stantz, he's like, yeah, he went off the deep end, claiming about the end of the world, blah blah, this and that, and this and that.
Yeah.
And like the sense that Ray didn't believe the most scientific, down to earth part of the group.
Right.
And why there was never any where Egon in 2000 and whatever it is in the movie, and it's got to be set pretty close to present day.
Right.
Couldn't have been. I mean, did he have a bag phone? I mean, he could have. There was physical evidence of. There's a statue of Zool. I mean,
right.
Why would he be a crackpot if there's all this physical evidence?
Right, and I think for me, what I picked up on was that he had been out there for a while, and they had all lost touch. Right, that's the beat that they're hitting there.
But at the same time, it wasn't a new threat. It was someone they already fought in the first movie.
Agree. Ivan Shandor, right? Ivo Shandor is this. They talk about him in the first movie. He was the one that built the building.
The building out of it. It was basically a beacon for the paranormal. You know.
Right. And they.
But I'm talking about Zool. Even Zool is someone they've fought already.
Well, right. But so he harvested the selenium from this mine.
Yeah.
I think it's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, somewhere in the Midwest, one of the flyover states, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I agree with you that like it shouldn't have been a hard pressed conversation to be like, hey,
for that long,
collectively should go check this out.
No, I understand if it was like Venkman,
or even Ray himself, right? Like,
yeah, because that would have fed into the whole Dan Aykroyd thing.
Doing a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
But I think it also would have made more sense if it was a different threat. If it wasn't the one that they already, all 4 have physically fought against in their existence.
Right.
Which brings me to my whole gripe about the whole movie, which is Here we go. Basically, right when we get to the Walmart scene, it just is... The Force Awakens syndrome all over again.
Elaborate on that.
it's a rehashing of the same ending of Ghostbusters 1. It's basically almost shot for shot. Some parts are just shot for shot of Ghostbusters 1. The dogs on the steps and everything. Right. So like that's what I'm saying. Like if it was a different threat besides one they'd all physically seen in their life, why would Egon be a crackpot? You know?
That's fair. But I think that's where they the justification of them showing up at the end is like, well, maybe he wasn't a fucking crackpot and we were wrong.
Well, they say that to him. He goes, sorry, I didn't. Ray says that. He says, sorry, I didn't believe you.
Right.
I should have called or something like that.
Now, the argument would be, why didn't the others also believe him and just...
Well, and then all of a sudden, I mean, why, you know...
Yeah.
Why did they all show up at the end anyway? Did anybody call them? Besides the girl when she was in jail and Ray didn't believe her.
But I think there was enough there that he's like, okay, this is twice.
Or just because she ends the call, doesn't it? With I'm Egon was my grandfather or something like.
Egon Spangler was my grandfather.
Time's up. Hey, hello?
So maybe it was he thought better of the conversation, right?
Right.
Called old Moneybags Ernie Hudson and said, "Hey, Zedmore, fly us out, buddy." But
although the CGI was good, I thought it was an all right send off for Harold Ramis, or like a 2 Harold they did at the end there. But
yeah, what else could you do there?
I thought maybe they used it a little too much, but like you could have shown him, give a smile, gave one fleeting glance to his daughter to be like, "Yeah, I loved you," and then
instead of hugs and kisses for everybody.
Yeah, instead of
talk
to all the guys and they all look over while he's shooting a proton pack, and
that's a pretty big spoiler. But
we already said spoiler for the whole thing. Screw him.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. The pacing points at the end were very similar.
Yeah, I mean, even where they brought up, like, even Zool says like the same lines to the Ghostbusters again.
Are you a god?
And then, they do the same thing almost. Like he's like, "Oh, go ahead, Ray." Like, and we're all gods in our own world and blah blah. And I was like,
"Oh, but come on!" That moment where they all look at him like, "You don't fuck this up. We've been through this once." That was a good moment. Come on.
Yeah. No, and there were like, There
the Marshmallow Man.
I thought Bill Murray was just, it felt like some of his line delivery was just, he didn't even want to be there.
I would argue he probably didn't. They've had a pretty tumultuous past. But so the things I did like, though, let me finish with the things I did not like.
Okay.
I wanted Slimer. I know that's probably asking too much, but I wanted Slimer.
Yeah, so we got like Metal Man or Metal, I don't know what they called him, but
I don't know the name for that one, but and I realized he was the plug-in for Slimer, so it wasn't Ghostbusters 1 in its entirety, but it would have been nice to have that.
I thought it was cool that what's her name came back and reprised her role for that little brief stint in the post-credit scene. But
Sigourney Weaver?
No.
Dana Barrett?
No. Something Isn't Potts?
Annie Potts? Well, she was in the movie too. She was the one that let him in the house.
That's what I said. I'm glad she came back for that little bit for.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the second cutscene at the end where she's talking to Zedmore.
Yeah, no, but so like when she first shows up and she's like, I was Egon's like friend or confidant, caretaker type of thing, or whatever.
You know who I did find myself missing was, and maybe I was thinking about it too. They didn't really acknowledge the second Ghostbusters as much as just the first. But
you were missing Rick Moranis.
Yeah, because that's where they hooked up, right?
Yeah,
Janine and what was his name? whatever his character was.
I can't remember.
Got some sparkling water if you guys want some. Hey, who let the dog in here?
All right, who brought the dog? Well, come on, yeah. No, maybe if we start dancing, other people.
Fucking. But so they did.
The best part of that whole Rick Moranis thing was at the end when they're like, "You just encountered a blah 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 this and that," and oh no, it's great. And he's just like, "We're gonna have to examine part of your brain or something." He's like, "Okay, okay." Like,
he's just completely out of it.
He's just oblivious. Like, oh no, I was thrilled. It's just like his hair's all over the place. After they pull him out of the dog stand,
yeah.
The whole Walmart section was just where the movie. It started taking me out of the movie, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's some straight up obvious product."
Yeah,
placement.
I didn't. So I get why they put it in there because of the Easter egg side of it, right? But in the first movie, that was Gozer the Destroyer, right? Like they summoned.
That's what is Gozer. It's not
right.
Zool.
Zool is the being that the god, right? Like the chick.
No, that was Gozer.
No, Gozer was the Destroyer. That was
who Zool was representing.
Yes. So Gozer was actually
Gozer is the Gozer.
Oh, it is Gozer. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been fucking it up the whole time. Zool is mentioned, but I can't remember what context Zool is. Is Zool just the dog? One of the dog ghosts?
No, Zool is so Zool is like the bigger thing that Gozer serves.
Oh, okay.
So Zool was, choose your destroyer, and that was the embodiment of Zool, I guess, in the first movie, right? Yeah. And then they blow up the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
In this one, why? He obviously didn't think Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's going to be there, right? He's just looking for Haagen-Dazs. So why did the marshmallows come back to life in this film, right? Like,
right.
That's one of the few legitimate gripes I had with it. Beyond that, like to me, that was a total homage to what was that movie? Yoga Hoosers. If you haven't seen Yoga Hoosers, it's a watch. It's something. But
yeah, I understand that's how we get Paul Rudd and one of the the dogs in the same area.
The fact that one mimicked Tully, that was Rick Moranis' character, Louis Tully.
Louis.
I liked how that mimicked his sequence in the original, where even the way the dog ran after him and slipped. I had no issue with that.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
the only thing it could have done better was
I'd have to disagree with it because I'm like, it's no originality. Then I'm just like,
well, that's fair.
I'm like, I understand. It's a I don't know what you want to even call it, but it's damned if you not really a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation.
Yeah. I get when
he come busting out at Walmart and slid just like he did in the first one. I was just like, I'm like, okay, guys, come on. We already got Walmart, and we already got.
Yeah, how about that product placement, right?
That's what I was saying. That's where the whole movie started taking me out because I'm just like, oh fuck. But
and then the ice cream.
You got this small little podunk town in Oklahoma, and when Paul Rudd's in it, I'm like, I just thought to myself, based off of where I live, I'm like, that is one of the cleanest Walmarts I've ever seen.
I actually said, there's nobody in there. What Walmart is empty at any point of the night?
There's no pallets full of shit in the middle of the aisle.
Yeah,
waiting to be put away by the night crew.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And who puts the dog food on a display near the department store section?
Ben and Jerry's or whatever it was.
Those are on two opposite ends, man. But and why is the terror dog eating dog food? That was a little on the nose, I guess.
Yeah, they're not from this world, so why? I mean, they're not actually dogs, so
Now, personally, if he was eating a bag of Old Roy or something like, would have been
Yeah,
funnier to me. But it's a little, Christmas Vacation throwback. But
they could have had Paul Rudd investigating like a little like seismic thing somewhere off, not
Right.
at Egon's farm, and then one of the terror dogs could be eating a whole damn coop full of chickens or something. That would have made
a heck of a lot more sense. He just thought it was a cow, right? Like, that's a weird looking cow, and then
well, yeah, something. I mean, Paul Rudd could have played some kind of aloof thing like that, Yeah, the whole Walmart scene just.
I'll give you the Walmart scene in general. But as far as the cast goes, let's talk about them. We talked about going woke earlier, right? And I feel like they did that with this cast, right? You had 2 boys, 2 girls, different ethnicities. But it didn't feel forced.
No,
whatsoever.
yeah, it wasn't so on the nose, and there was no point in the movie where anything was brought up about like girls do it better. There was none of that bullshit like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Oh, where I have to run in high heels, or
no, the Fallen Kingdom one where that you got the Millennium Screamer and then you got the lesbian woke, where guys are like saying something to her and she's like, oh, I can blah blah this and that. It's like, oh, girl power. But yeah.
But as far as I felt like it hit the right pace there, that it showed a culturally diverse cast and blah blah blah.
Some of the things were kind of pushed. I mean, plot wise, that didn't make any sense. Like you don't get any build up to why he has this one line, and it's the kid from Stranger Things.
Okay.
Because of reasons, and he's not that great of an actor. I don't know why people keep putting him in shit.
Well, he was good for Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
But as he's
now
growing,
he's getting into puberty, it's just like
his talent hasn't grown with him.
No, because he was in It, the first It.
Yeah, but he was still younger, so I think we gave him a pass on some things. And now that he's getting older, I mean, he's
and that was his set in like the 80s or something.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that.
But he has this one passing line when they first get there, and he goes, "Oh, cool! There's all sorts of junk back here and stuff like that." And so then I was just like,
"Are you gonna go explore it?" Like,
no, like what does that have to do with your character? Like, that's never. Is he a tinkerer? Like, there's never. We're supposed to just take that line as he's a mechanic.
Well, I mean, they do show him working on the car later.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting to, though. I'm like, all of a sudden, he's getting the car running because of. I mean, is he just?
I think you nailed it on the head. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. They were expecting us to take the leap to he's the tinkerer. He's the Ray.
Yeah,
in that regard, right? Because it wasn't Ray that worked on the car all the time.
Well, Ernie Hudson did, because even at the end he goes, "Oh, what did they do to you, baby?" Remember?
Oh well, no, but in the original, wasn't it Ray laid across the front there, working on the car? Needs shocks, needs rudders, new blah 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 blah. You can't park that here.
Oh yeah. Was it Ray? Yeah.
I know Ernie.
Once Ernie was brought in, though, he was the one that fell in love with.
Took it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ray was always the one that was so like into the science of what they were. Him and Egon were,
in the lore.
Yeah, he'd rattle off technical things about it. It was an ectoplasmic blah blah this and that, and
that's a class 5 vapor.
Bill Murray'd be like, yeah, I mean, go get him, Ray.
That podcast kid, I thought, filled out the Ray role pretty well, though.
See, and apparently, I've seen other theories on, not really theories, but apparently they thought some people thought that the Stranger Things kid is supposed to fill the Venkman role, but I'm like, well, Venkman wasn't a tinkerer.
No, I think
Venkman didn't do shit. Venkman
I think-
showed up and shit all over ideas all the time.
I feel like that's him, like in that regard. But to me, the smartass, right, which is what Venkman really was. He was the wisecracker. Was the girl?
Yeah, his love interest. I thought more
Yeah.
was Venkman-y than.
I would agree.
Oh, I guess would Stranger Things get? He'd be the Ernie Hudson then.
Yeah, that's the only one that like
Because-
he's just there for the ride.
Because the chick was the one that was the skeptic, or
Right.
the one that. Yeah, okay, but I really don't believe in any of this shit. But yeah, I'll go with you. Kind of like Venkman, like
Yeah.
we do the
Wait, we can make money doing
I
this?
hate that,
Yeah,
just the franchising alone. It's gonna make us rich.
it did not apparently,
No.
but
Yeah, he went back to academia, remember? That's what Stan
Yeah.
says to her on the phone. He
Yeah.
went back to academia. And I was like, you mean like,
a college professor. Yeah,
but fraudulently, like, shocking? My favorite part of the second one, and this goes back to that dry Harold Ramis timing.
yeah.
We're trying to monitor like the paranormal, and he even does it to Sigourney Weaver, and she's like, "He hasn't mentioned me, has he?" And he goes, "No," and then takes the scanner and scans her. But then he gets right before the scene ends, he goes, "All right, let's try to let's go and take the puppy away." Like I said, he's just like,
Oh yeah,
For the
because
sake of
right before
science,
they
it's
bring
just
the
like-
puppy in. Yeah,
he's strictly sadistic, but it's so
Yeah.
logical. Let's just try and take the puppy away.
well, that and I love that scene in the street when they're in the street working, and he's like, "Vinny, yo." You're like, what?
Yeah.
He snapped in the
When they're
character.
working?
Yeah. We've been out here working all night.
Like he was such the logical one to the whole group,
Yeah.
Even like Annie Potts says something to him when they first, "Oh, you're such a." When they first bring Lewis back, because once he's possessed
Oh.
by Zool or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah. You're such
or
a good
possessed by
man.
and he goes, or he's like, "For taking this
Poor man.
helping
in.
this poor man." He goes, I don't even think he's human or whatever like that. And this is this one fleeting line as the scene ends. But she's like, "For helping out this poor," he's like, "I don't think he's a man at all," or something like that. And but yeah, Afterlife, it's not bad. It's definitely better than the 2016.
Definitely better.
I just hope they don't do this whole new Hollywood thing where we're gonna do a franchise before we have a franchise thing. So
Were they playing?
'cause
Out
they
two more movies?
did put that Ghost Core thing up there in the beginning. That's like
Yeah.
whatever is it Universal or whoever it is. That's their Universal just keeps trying to shoot out these. Is it Universal?
I don't know who did it.
I can't remember either. But basically, this Ghost Core thing is like it's like Universal Studios' Dark Universe. So basically, they just keep trying to.
It was Columbia.
They
Sorry.
just keep trying to.
Yeah, and
Just keep-
Sony.
Oh,
Just
just
shoving
keep
it up there.
they
So-
keep trying to.
Before we give it our ratings, let's review Rotten Tomatoes here.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter gives it a 62%.
Okay.
So critics,
Critics love it.
for a critic, yeah, I think so.
What is the audience?
Audience score is 95%.
Hmm.
Which is
And like I said, like it's not bad. It's just like I said.
Yeah,
Once it got to the end, I just thought it Force Awakened itself and basically rehashed the first one. That's all I. That was my only gripe about the whole movie.
That's fair. I mean, I loved Paul Rudd in this. I thought he brought that Venkman humor that we really needed.
Yeah, he was a good blend of Lewis and Venkman, I think.
Yes, well, and that's Paul Rudd. I think that's a great.
Even though he was a
analogy.
great seismologist, he was oblivious to the paranormal side of it. So he was a good scientist and
I like
kind of sarcastic like Venkman, but like when it came to the other stuff, I mean, and he also eventually became a terror dog. So,
well,
like
yeah.
Lewis. So
I did like Ivo Shandor's appearance there with J.K. Simmons.
oh yeah, then
I didn't see that one coming.
for like that, and then he's. I'm like, oh, he was so wasted, J.K. Simmons.
Agreed.
J.K. Simmons, I think, is a fucking masterpiece of an actor.
Oh, agreed. Wholeheartedly agree. How about Olivia Wilde being the body double for Gozer?
She wasn't.
Who was?
Oh, she's listed in the credits. It looks like Olivia Wilde, but it's not.
Look it up, buddy.
I really don't care. All right, well, you guys have.
It was an amalgam of Emma Porter and Olivia Wilde.
Oh.
And somebody else, Paulina Alexis, did the voice.
Well, when I looked in the credits, the woman that was playing Gozer was
Emma Porter, yeah. But Olivia Wilde was also like the body
blended?
double.
Did they CGI as part of Olivia Wilde?
Yeah.
Like when she first was, I was like, oh, that's Olivia Wilde. But then when I looked in the credits, I'm like, oh, it's just someone that looks extremely close and similar to Olivia Wilde.
So I wonder if it was like Olivia Wilde's body with this other person's face, this Emma Porter's face, because it was,
yeah, I thought it was her at first.
I agree. So,
But
overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think I will also give this a 4.5, man. Perfect. Yeah. 4.5.
no, I'm gonna have to lower the bar on you.
That's fine.
I'd have to say like a 4.
All right. So we'll meet in the middle and call it a 4.25. And
That's how averages work.
is it? I told you I failed math for Marines, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
No, I didn't know that's one of the fastest RC cars in the entire world.
Yeah. That thing was pushing. God, they had to be going what 60 through town. So
65, making it through all the hairpin turns.
No problem.
Signal strength on that thing is good. I mean, I understand it's 2021, but I was just like, holy shit, that thing's booking.
That's fair. I did love. I really liked the podcast kid's character, and I loved at the end when Ray's like, "Oh, that thing really took off at episode 42 or whatever."
Was you my subscriber? This is Rich. That's his only subscriber.
Yeah, I was like, I can relate to that kid. I like that. That was good.
In clothes too. I mean, that was one thing too. I was like, oh, where did all these fucking marshmallows come from in the car?
Well, they came out like through the corn, started attacking him, didn't they?
No, also they were just in the car.
I
remember he was trying to get his proton pack. He was trying to get Harry or whatever from Stranger Things, his proton pack working. All of a sudden, there's this, and all these little marshmallow men are
showed up.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck, they come from fucking Walmart's like 20 miles away."
Yeah. Oh, fair. Gozer must have, sent a beacon.
Yeah. Unless they had marshmallows in the car and like the cloud formation came over the house and it brought them to life. I don't know.
Yeah, but they didn't show that. They didn't.
They had to bring out the fact that he came out of the car looking like Ray from the first movie.
Right.
And then Ray and him had that conversation.
Right.
Right? They fuck, there's nothing original anymore. There's nothing original. Hollywood can't fucking come up with an original concept to save its life. So, and when they do, nobody likes it. So,
yeah.
I mean, not saying we don't. I mean, I guess I can't remember if for a long time an original concept that's come out of Hollywood.
Ravenous. Loved it.
Upgrade. That was good.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah. The first death race.
That's a lot, but that's also a remake.
Bitch, I know. The Charlie
Why the
Bronson.
fuck you
wasn't
bring it up? Why the fuck you bring it up then?
It had Charlie Bronson in it, didn't it?
You drove a car out as a rope.
Let's see. First death race.
It's like
Casey is a
1970s.
twat. How do you spell twat?
.com. What up, y'all? We know you like our stuff. I don't know why you haven't subscribed yet. So go ahead and just grab her somewhere down there. Check out one of the most recent uploads. Hit like, subscribe, turn on the bell thing, you know, the thing with the, what you call it. Be glad to have you.